Okay, we are right at 5 past, so let's get started. I am very excited today to be talking to you guys about both Amazon Business and how Feedanomics can help you guys grow your business. We are joined, fortunately, by Kimberly, who is hailing from Seattle and from Amazon Business. Myself, I'm our commercial director for Feedanomics. Here are our pictures. And Kimberly is going to be starting. And let me kick this off here. So Kimberly, I am just going to kill my webcam here. So there you go. You should be able to take us through. And Kimberly is going to take the first half of this presentation here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Colin, and thanks everyone for joining. As he mentioned, I'm Kimberly Smith. I've been with Amazon Business for 6 years now. I'm a solutions architect, which means that my charter is to support sellers and third-party solutions providers like Feedanomics in scaling their business through automation and adopting B2B specific features that we've built for Amazon Business. If you're not yet selling on Amazon, some of the experiences that we showed today may be new to you, but please bear with us. We'll have time for questions at the end, both about Amazon Business and selling on Amazon in general. And then for those of you who are already selling on Amazon, Amazon Business is an easy feature set that you can enable in Seller Central to participate in. So please feel free to put messages or questions in the chat box as we go, and we'll be sure to answer your questions at the end. So moving on to our agenda, today we will talk about the opportunities available in the business-to-business Amazon store. We'll share what the store looks like from a buyer's perspective and how you can differentiate your listings from a seller's perspective. We'll take a look at some of the additional reports that are exclusive to B2B sellers and help you manage your B2B business. And then finally, we'll talk about the features that Feedanomics has built into their application to support Amazon Business. If there's two main takeaways from today, I'd like you to understand that there's additional opportunity with our B2B customers and that Feedanomics can help you get started with our business exclusive features. Okay, so first about the opportunity. B2B purchasing is changing. According to an Acuity Group study, 90% of buyers aged 18 to 35 make company purchases online. This compares to 68% of buyers age 36 to 45 and 45% of buyers age 46 to 60. But as Colin mentioned, this is only increasing with COVID. So these numbers do predate COVID. We have some quotes from B2B customers who say they're accustomed to buying on Amazon for personal purchases, and they now expect that same kind of customer experience in B2B buying. It makes sense that Acuity's research found that people want the same buying experiences work that they get at home. Employees are looking to save time and money through a familiar, fast, and efficient shopping experience. Okay, so as we mentioned, B2B e-commerce is accelerating. 45% of procurement professionals made purchases in Amazon stores last year, and the trend is growing. Projections put the online business spending opportunities at $1.2 trillion in 2021. And again, these predate COVID, so all of this is accelerating beyond these numbers we had projected previously. Amazon Business is currently operating in 9 countries. The business-to-business shopping experience is global, and we have a presence in North America, Europe, and Asia. So while I know many of you today are based in the United States, we do have opportunities to grow your business globally. So many large organizations are taking care of their business needs at Amazon Business. This includes 90% of the 100 largest educational organizations, 55 of the Fortune 100, more than half of the largest hospital systems, and over 40% of the largest local governments. We do also have a customer-facing sales team that is working on recruiting these large businesses to shop with us. Okay, so let's jump into what this customer experience is and what we've built to make the Amazon business experience good for business customers. Okay, here we go. So how does this all work? It starts with a familiar shopping experience with a few enhancements. Imagine most of you have made a purchase on Amazon before for either yourself or your household. This homepage should look familiar, although we've swapped out the regular Amazon or Prime logo in that top left-hand corner for a business Prime logo. We've got our hero images have more professional themes and categories. And we have less emphasis on consumer programs like music and videos. When we first started Amazon Business, it was in reaction to those quotes like, "We wish purchasing for our business was as easy as shopping on Amazon as a consumer." And we've taken that to heart in designing an experience that offers the convenience of shopping on Amazon, but with the necessary tools for businesses. Okay, great. Here's the product search experience. So this is once you start searching for products from that home page, we've added some additional experience within here. You'll see that in addition to the filters on the left where you can filter for things like brand or prime or star ratings, you also see ownership and diversity credentials. We know that many procurement teams have goals for spend in minority ownership groups or need credentialed organizations. As a buyer, they can focus their shopping options based on those goals. And as a seller, this is an opportunity for you to tell shoppers about your organization. Are you, for example, woman-owned, veteran-owned, or minority-owned business? Do you have specialized trade certifications, perhaps an ISO quality certification? You can upload them to your profile and get noticed for shoppers who are looking for your credentials. Okay, on the detail page. So when the shopper finds the product they want details for, they'll get the usual detail page with information to help them select just the right product, but they'll also see special business pricing. So you can see in the middle of the page here, we've indicated that it is a business price. And there's an option for quantity discounts as well. As they're entering quantities in the buy box, they'll see what the optional quantity discount tiers are. And the seller's credentials. They're also displayed in the buy box for the featured seller, as well as in the link to view other offers. So in this example, you can see that the featured seller has multiple credentials that they're highlighting. Okay, and then moving on to the seller profile. If a buyer wants to learn more about the business seller, they can explore their profile just by clicking on their name from that detail page or offer page. In the standard consumer experience, they would see a percent of positive reviews and a statement from the brand. But in the business experience, they get all of that and more. There's also information on the percent of orders that are shipped on time, their location and year established, and quality and diversity certifications. So within the business seller experience, there's multiple different settings that you can enable to be surfaced on this enhanced business seller profile. There we go. Okay, so we've got also request for quote. This is where buyers can negotiate prices for items that they're likely to purchase in bulk or multiple times. They just let the seller know how many they might want to purchase. So within the buy box experience, you can see on the right-hand side that's highlighted, there is that buying in bulk link. And so if a customer wants a quantity discount to be available to them, they simply enter the amount that they want to purchase. And that sends an email to all Amazon business sellers who have an offer on that product to respond to that opportunity. So they'll get that direct customer signal from the customer that they want to purchase certain quantities at a more competitive price. And then we send those responses back to the customer within 48 hours. Okay, tax exempt purchasing is a requirement that many business customers may have. They might be tax exempt because perhaps they're a government organization or education. They'll load that tax exemption into their customer account, and Amazon manages that on your behalf. You can see that they have an option for removing the exemption on a per item basis as well. So perhaps they're making a personal purchase, they can just remove that, or it's a classification of product that they aren't exempt for, they can remove that on a per item basis. As a seller, if you have a tax exempt transaction, your tax reports will indicate that that item is tax exempt, and you'll also be able to download a tax exemption certificate for your tax remittance. And then finally, moving on to the next slide, we provide a familiar customer order experience for that checkout experience. If a buyer has a procurement system integration, we can offer punch out as well as approval. So the buyer will submit their selection to their company's approval process, which might include approval chains, limits, and category restrictions. And we're going to take a look at some of the additional settings that they can put into place to manage their purchasing experience. Okay, so catalog curation. Procurement officers, so typically these would be admins on that business account, can designate preferred products or suppliers. So if you as a seller offer a great price on a high demand product, or perhaps you've given just great customer service to a client, you could see repeat business through them preferencing you as a supplier. Just want to show you a couple slides of what this curation experience looks like. So from the admin perspective, they can go to the detail page and simply add the product as preferred. And then their buyers will be guided to that product and they can choose between sellers. Next slide will show the user perspective. So once a company procurement officer has preferred a product, they'll see this preferred by your company messaging on that detail page. So they'll know that that's the right product for them to purchase. And then as a seller, you're probably most interested in the next one, which is where they can preference a specific seller. Okay, perfect. And this is from, again, that enhanced business seller profile. At the top right-hand side, there's an ads preferred supplier, so they can quickly bookmark you for future use. And this bookmarking not only gives messaging on the detail page, but also impacts organic search. So preference suppliers will be surfaced up in search results. There's a huge benefit to that. Okay, so participating as a seller, all of those customer experience slides were to show you how we built a convenient shopping experience for business customers. So what does this mean for you as a seller? Hundreds of thousands of sellers are already benefiting by getting a new segment of customers discovering them. Business sellers make up over half of our $10 billion and growing business. I'll just let you know that $10 billion number is from 2017, so it's a little dated. It's just the most recent PR approved number, but we are definitely bigger than that now, so huge opportunity. And the seller business is growing. It's 30% larger of a portion of our business than it was 10 years ago. And 90,000 of these hundreds of thousands of sellers are participating in features like quantity discounts, which are helping to drive this experience for business customers and growing the overall opportunity. As we mentioned in the agenda, there are some additional reports that we provide to you to help understand your B2B business. So as a seller, you can not only participate in the features that we showed you, for example, business pricing, but you also get these additional reports within this B2B section of the menu. You'll see this additional tab that's present next to on the right-hand side of your menu. Within this B2B menu, you can see what types of businesses are buying from you. So here we show vertical or industry breakdown, but you can also click in additional layers deeper. So for example, education will be broken down into subsegments like K through 12 education or higher education. This can help guide your strategic decisions like where to advertise, new product development, and more. Another report that we provide within B2B Central is business product opportunities. And here you can provide selection opportunities based on demand signals from Amazon business customers, both for existing ASINs on Amazon as well as products that we don't yet have in our catalog. So those are the slides that I wanted to show you today. In summary, we've talked about the opportunities available at Amazon Business, what the store looks like from a buyer's perspective, and some reports that are exclusive to B2B sellers. We're happy to present this webinar today with Feedanomics to announce that they've built support for some of these business pricing features. I'll turn this over to Colin to discuss how Feedanomics can support a successful Amazon business experience.
Thanks, Kimberly. Hopefully that was really valuable for you guys, and kind of the intricacies of Amazon Business, which I know many of us are sort of just foraying into, and others of us are very familiar with, and some of us may have never seen it all. So thank you for that, Kimberly. Super valuable. So Feedanomics, this is sort of the back end of stuff. Amazon Business is obviously the kind of the sexy part of this, which is how you guys can reach more of your customers and obviously facilitate growing your business. The Feedanomics portion is really more to do with the data and actually getting your products listed. So that's what I'm going to be talking about pretty high level. First and foremost, I just wanted to mention, since you guys are all familiar with Feedanomics, the actual features that we support within Feedanomics. And when I'm talking about within Feedanomics, what I mean is a lot of these features are enabled by the data that we provide to Amazon, which of course is the feed or the integration. So the first is business pricing. And that's the ability to only make prices visible to registered Amazon business customers. That's, again, a meta tag within the feed. And then the second thing, of course, is quantity discounts, obviously very important, especially for those of you who are selling items in quantities more than one, if you want to give those tiered breakdowns. So that's another thing that we can support within the feed. But I also just wanted to kind of step back a second, and for those of you who are less familiar with how these integrations work, just give, again, a summary of what Feedanomics is actually doing. So the first portion of this is that we need access to your product data, right? So that generally will live within an e-com cart. That could be one of the standard carts we have listed here. It could be Shopify, it could be BigCommerce. could also be something that you've custom built. And so we take data in a variety of ways. That could be an API into one of those carts. It could be a pickup from an SFTP. It could be a URL that your system generates. And we're pulling that data in, and we're looking for all of the attributes that, of course, are needed to make up the listings on Amazon. And of course, some of those additional attributes for Amazon Business, like the quantity discounts or which products are available only to registered users. The next thing that we're doing is we're pulling that into Feedanomics, and our team is sort of chewing up that data and making sure that it's optimized for Amazon specifically, so that your listings are kind of as crisp as possible when we push that data, and Amazon is able to kind of figure out where the different data points go within the UI. And then the final thing is we're setting up all sorts of data protections to make sure that if something does happen on the data end, because these are all moving targets, we're not building a stone bridge here. E-commerce is moving quickly, both on Amazon ends, Feedanomics end, and of course, your website is changing constantly. Products are being added, subtracted, inventory is changing. And so we want to make sure that we set up data protections around your data so that if anything breaks or doesn't look like we expect it to, we generate errors, and our team or your team or collectively, our teams can solve those problems. And then from there, products are listed on Amazon, and like Kimberly showed you, hopefully you're able to get all sorts of insights and metrics into what products are selling well, where you might want to focus from an advertising perspective or a product development perspective and a customer perspective. And then you get sales, and those all generate order files, which we then need to carry back to your fulfillment system. Again, that could be your e-commerce platform if you're using something like a BigCommerce, Shopify, Magento. It also could be a separate ERP or an OMS. And in that case, we do have SFTP again or a REST API available for your system to kind of reach out and grab those orders, bring them into your system, and then your fulfillment would happen as is typical for your business. And so that might be, fulfilled by Amazon, FBA. It might be stuff that you guys fulfill. You might have another third party that you use, and then all the systems that go into that to generate shipping labels, stick it in a box, and ship it out to the customer. So we talked a little bit about optimizing product listings. Many of us are familiar with the term SEO, and that's SEO really kind of applies to making your site kind of most available and accessible via keywords to the general public who's searching for stuff. Product feeds are very similar in concept. At the end of the day, Amazon actually, I think something like 90% now of all product searches originate on Amazon. And so Amazon really is the Google of e-commerce in that sense. People are searching for things just to sort of start their buying process on Amazon now as a go-to. And so it's very, very important that your data is in sort of tip-top shape so that when someone types in a search, there's no magic search fairy. What's happening is that the keywords of the customer are being matched to what Amazon has in their database. And the only way that they get stuff in their database is from you, the sellers, providing that product information. And so our goal as Feedanomics is to help you guys have the most optimized product listings as possible. If you are not brand registered, you're going to have limited control over what you can optimize in those listings because the listing is actually going to be owned by whoever is brand registered. But if you are brand registered, you're going to be able to basically optimize that listing as you see fit. So that means title, description, extra bullet points, all the information that you can give Amazon to describe what that product is, the specifications, the dimensions, the reviews, all of that kind of stuff. All of those are going to add up to generate a more robust product listing, which means that when someone like, any jolly consumer is searching for your product, Amazon's going to be able to match that more easily. That, of course, leads to more sales for you guys, a better customer experience. Your reviews go up, you generate more sales. The next thing that you can see within Feedanomics or request a report of is the order dashboard. And this is more, once orders have happened, you might want to see all sorts of different information from order numbers to order dates, when it was last updated. You can kind of filter and sort through reports. You may also not want to see this in Feedanomics. You may have a dashboard internally in your own order management system that you want to view all this kind of information in. And that's, again, the reason that we're not only giving you this dashboard, but we're also syncing orders back to your system of record via the method that you need. And again, it could be an API, it could be a REST API that's exposed by us, or it could be an SFTP. That's, again, to help you get that order data back. But you do have also visibility for some basic order information within Feedanomics. The next thing, which is really cool, we talked a little bit about error monitoring. And there's some basic stuff that sort of applies to every feed, and that stuff like, did the import work? Did the export work? Some basic sort of like pass-fail kind of stuff that we have set up in our system. But as we got into more and more sort of omni-channel stuff and more complexities with marketplaces like Amazon, we needed a little bit more of a way to customize what you want to report on, because as we just saw, there's a lot of different data points within something like Amazon Business that could be points of failure depending on where we're getting that information from and how consistently we can get it. So data governance allows us to set up if-then statements that generate alerts around any custom parameter we set up. So we could say something like, if price is blank for more than 10 products, send me an alert. If it's catastrophic, like if my inventory is less than 5 for any number of products in these categories, actually don't even send that feed, don't even send the export. And you can customize that on any field. So it doesn't have to just be price and inventory. It could be based on category. Hey, send me an alert whenever one of my products is uncategorized. Send me an alert whenever my quantity discount is X. Send me an alert whenever I don't have a quantity discount present. There's all sorts of fancy things you can do within this. And your Feedanomics marketplace specialist can help you with that. And that's, again, we go back to our business model. Our ethos is very hands-on. We're one of the only companies that's doing these integrations kind of for you and with you. Most of the time, what you're experiencing in the market is a sort of a self-service tool that you use to manipulate to get your product listings out to Amazon. So again, in our case, you're working with a marketplace specialist. They're there to guide you. You can ask them about data governance if you work with one already, and make sure that we've set up all sorts of parameters to help protect your data. We do a lot of these kind of without asking. We have a sort of a set of best practices that we're going to essentially just go ahead and implement. But we can also, if there's data points, like I mentioned, that are potential points of failure for you, you can kind of get ahead of those and let us know, hey, I've got this other feed of quantity discount information, pricing information, inventory information that's coming in from this separate source. And that system gets updated 5 times a day, and we think it's a very high likelihood of failure. And so we might want to set up some rules around that. So anyway, very customizable. Alerts, you can just get information, or you can actually stop exports. And this is probably, this is our equivalent to like seatbelts and airbags in a car. We want to make sure we don't send any feed without data governance queries. So that wraps up the Feedanomics portion. Again, super, super excited to have Kimberly here and be presenting on this topic. I think it's very prescient for many of us. Like I was mentioning before the webinar started, I know that this has been a wild year, and e-commerce is more important than ever. So with that said, we have some time for questions, and you feel free to point them towards myself or Kimberly or both of us, and I will start checking the chat here. So Kimberly, I'll read these off for you, and if again, if anything comes up to either of us, I will direct them. All right, so this looks like a question for Feedanomics. Does Amazon Business cost extra on the Feedanomics side? In other words, if you want to enable some of these features, is there an extra cost? My answer to that is, if you are already working with us for Amazon, in other words, you're already paying us to send a feed to Amazon, no, these are basically just additional meta fields we need to specify within the Feedanomics integration. And that will get your products listed on Amazon Business with the information that we talked about. So no extra cost, assuming you're paying us for Amazon already. If you're just using us for marketing feeds, so something like Google Shopping or Facebook ads, then there is additional cost for marketplaces, but that's independent of Amazon Business. The Amazon Business stuff we've talked about today is included in the marketplace stuff. Okay, let me read through a few more of these. Okay, Kimberly, it looks like this one's for you. I am not an Amazon seller yet. How do I register? And actually, it
Perfect.
looks like there's 2 questions here. Sorry.
Okay.
Same question for Amazon Business. So I'm not an Amazon seller yet. How would I register? And if I'm not an Amazon Business seller yet, how do I join B2B?
Great questions. So starting selling on Amazon is very easy. I'm going to paste this in the chat, but I think Colin or somebody might need to share it with the group. The URL is just sell.amazon.com. So pretty straightforward there. You can, through that link, also sign up for Amazon Business at the same time. We're actually signing up new sellers by default for Amazon Business because it's an additional just free feature set. So why wouldn't you want the additional features? So feel free to just go to sell.amazon.com. I'm also going to give you an additional address to learn a little bit more about Amazon Business. It's just business.amazon.com. And there is also a link to, there's a button to sell there as well. To get started on Amazon, there's a couple different options. You do have to choose the professional seller option to be a participant in Amazon Business, which just has a different rate card than an individual seller. But I think that most of you would probably want the professional level anyway. Essentially, if you think you might sell 40 items per month, you want to be a professional seller just due to the fee structure. So a simple $39.99 a month to participate in the Amazon Marketplace. And then we have some referral fees per category on top of that. But Amazon Business itself is included within that professional selling plan.
Great. Here's another related question, Kimberly. I'm not sure if I'm an Amazon business seller or not. How do I tell?
Great question. So there's really two places that you can tell. One, if you are registered, you'll see that B2B menu in your top menu in Seller Central. The second is that you can go to within Seller Central, there's that settings button in the top right-hand side, drop down into account info, and you'll see it in managing your services, same as you would like if you've joined FBA, for example. Likewise, if you are an Amazon seller who's not yet in Amazon Business, you can add Amazon Business through that same place. So settings and account info, and then manage your services.
Great. Okay, looks like this one is for Feedanomics. Okay, so I already work with Feedanomics, great. How do I get started with this? Okay, good question. So if you're already working with us, it's a bit of a rehash from the last question. If you're already working with us for Amazon, just email your account manager or your marketplace specialist that you're working with and say, hey, I've registered for Amazon Business. You want to do what Kimberly was just describing first. Make sure that you are registered with Amazon Business and you've got all that stuff set up from an account perspective. And then go ahead and just send a note in via either feed support to your marketplace specialist or your email your account manager and say, hey, I'm registered, I want to get started with this. And they should be able to guide you through just basically getting us the additional data that we're going to need to supply those meta fields that are going to give Amazon Business's UI the information they need to list your products correctly. So good question. It looks like a similar thing on the cost structure here. Let's see. Are businesses pricing and quantity discounts additional fields within the same, okay, this is for Feedanomics, the same Amazon integration, or is there a separate integration? Okay, yeah, it's the same integration. It's the same API that we're using to supply your products already to Amazon. We're basically, again, just adding those additional meta fields in there. So it is the same integration. It doesn't require a new integration. There's no risk to really disrupting the current one. We're basically just adding additional fields. So no again, additional cost, but also no risk to disrupting kind of what's already going on. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Kimberly, I think this is another question for you. Is there any cost to participating in Amazon Business, and where can I learn more about Amazon Business?
So from the cost perspective, same as Feedanomics, if you're already participating in Amazon, there's no additional cost. You will need that professional seller account. So if you have an individual account, actually, none of you should have an individual account. If you're sending feeds from Feedanomics, you all have a pro account. So no additional fee there from an Amazon Business perspective. We have the same referral fee structure as just general selling on Amazon. And sorry, Colin, what was the second part of that question?
Oh, just how do I learn more? I think those may have been some of the links that you sent out already, but if there's other links you want to direct folks to, that might be good.
Yeah, I think for the how do I the business.amazon.com will be the best link for you. It'll tell a little bit more about the some of the metrics I shared today, as well as has some customer case studies, for example. So I think that the business.amazon.com will be very interesting. Also, if you are already an Amazon seller and you're familiar with Seller University, there's an entire section within Seller University that's dedicated to Amazon Business.
Great. Okay, those are all of the questions that I see in the chat. So if any of you guys have other questions, I'll give it just another minute here, just in case any more of you guys have questions. But like Kimberly said, we will be following up with some of this information in an email to those of you guys who have attended. So if you missed any of these chats or you stepped away for a minute and you're not sure which one to go where, we will send a follow-up email and just kind of spell everything out for you. So not to worry. All right, I think that is all of our questions. I'm not seeing any more come through here. So thank you guys very much for taking some time out of your busy days. Hopefully this is valuable for you guys. And we're very, very excited again for the opportunity to partner with Amazon on this. Hopefully this is a great resource for you guys. and best of luck. I can only hope that it's a slightly less volatile year, but hopefully business on the e-commerce side is great. So best of luck to you guys. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.